It's based on a story by David Constantine called In Another Country. And there are a couple who are approaching their 45th wedding anniversary, which they're having a big celebration for their 45th wedding anniversary. They didn't have it for their 40th because it turns out that he had some health problems. So the whole thing seems to be slightly out of whack because 45 years is a strange thing to celebrate. Just as they're coming up in the week towards the celebration, a letter arrives telling him that a former girlfriend has been found perfectly preserved, the body of the former girlfriend perfectly preserved in the ice of the Alps, where he went walking with her 50 years ago. It's a strange letter that comes out of the blue, and he starts referring to my Katya. And immediately, as the spectre of my Katya, perfectly preserved from 50 years ago, comes into this household, relationships between him and his wife start to become slightly tense. Now, last week, we only have 2 clips of this movie. Last week, we played a clip in which it was immediately after the revelation of that letter. Here is another clip. I have to say it's not such a great clip, but it's just for a little bit of variety.
So, I was in the village, and I don't know what happened, but that racist from the community centre...
Sandra Wilkins.
Yeah, she came up to me, right up to my face, and she kept asking me if I was all right. And when I said I was, she wouldn't believe me. I wasn't doing anything. Nothing, just sitting on the bench by the duck pond, minding my own business and getting some air.
Oh, Dad.
All I was doing. Promise.
I believe you. She's a dreadful woman. Just ignore her.
Mm.
The one thing that clip does serve to do, although it doesn't actually serve to tell you anything about the plot, because the plot is paper thin anyways, it tells you something about the sort of naturalistic quality of the dialogue. And what happens in the case of the movie is the dialogue is very naturalistic. The Norfolk Broad setting is kind of strangely flat and, again, melancholic, which is direct. I mean, the director himself has said this is kind of in direct contrast to the alpine adventures of Geoff's youth. And what happens is that although his wife has known, played by Charlotte Rampling, has known about this relationship, actually in the short story, at first she says Katya. You never said anything about a Katya. The suggestion is that she did know about it, but she's kind of suppressed it. In this case, she says, yes, I do know who Katya is. But what she doesn't appear to know is the depth of the relationship which her husband had with Katya before he met her, before they started going out, before their marriage, before their 45 years together, in which they have made a home for themselves, which they talk about the fact they decided never to have children. They talk at one point about the fact they don't have photographs anymore. They'd like to have photographs. They'd like to have photographs of some of the dogs that they've had that to some extent seem to be sort of, substitutes. And as the week goes on and as we come nearer and nearer to the celebration, these strange waves of distrust, of attempting to reconfigure their relationship in the knowledge of something which happened before their relationship. And it's an absolutely brilliant portrayal of the persistence of the past, of the instability of the present. It is played largely, directs holding 2 shots in which some of the characters come in a frame and come out of frame. The performances are allowed to breathe. It's edited superbly in as much as the editing knows when to let a shot run. The music choices, which are diegetic music choices, are the music that gets played, what they're listening to as they lead up to it, all seems to have a kind of, sometimes it's commenting on their romance, sometimes it's commenting on some strange back history that may have. And as the thing plays out, you watch through gesture, through facial expression, the story being told, leading up to, I think, an extraordinary climax in which it's not to do with what is said, it is to do with what isn't said and what is conveyed through gesture, through expression. I thought the performances are terrific. I thought it was absolutely perfectly pitched, and I thought it was a really remarkable piece of work from a very, very fine filmmaker.
BAFTA's on the way, you feel.